Even though she's only 20 years old, she has often been called the most beautiful woman in the world. Brooke Shields was practically born in front of the cameras, and she modeled her way through her childhood. At age 12, she made her major film debut in the controversial Pretty Baby. The exotic movie Blue Lagoon followed a few years later. And then the teenage romance, Endless Love. Today, Brooke is a student at Princeton. She has just launched her own jeanswear fashion line, and she has authored a new book entitled On Your Own. Last night I read On Your Own. And if I can confess to you, when I picked it up, because of all the press you get for being such a good lady, I was skeptical. It seemed from all that I'd read about you and just the nature of the book that everything was too perfect in your life. And yet when I read it, it was full of good advice and it made a lot of sense. Where does it all come from?
Well, first of all, thank you. And it's just, I think the knowledge that I've gained has just been because I've gone through it. I mean, I went through all the problems, and I'm still going through all the problems, and I've been able to, I'm giving a first-hand account of it. And then, of course, my mother has been a very strong support for me, and my aunt who's with me, and my friends who I'm very close to have really helped. And I think that it's just a matter of surrounding yourself by people that you love and that support you.
You share a lot of yourself, kind of intimately in this book, and one of the things that I found interesting was you say when you go to college, when you leave home, you have to redefine relationships with your family. Is that true in your life?
It is hard, I think. It was hard when it first started to happen, and yet as far as my relationship with my mother is concerned, it's gotten better, and as far as my relationship with my father is concerned, it's gotten better. It's sort of, there's not as much of a gap between, say, the parent and the child. Now we're even more on a friendly basis. And my father and I can talk much more openly now. And actually what happened was when I wrote the book, I said things that I would not have really been able to say to him in the book.
Like what?
Well, just about how he has reacted towards the business and towards my work. He was never a strong supporter of my work, and he was always afraid it was going to change me and change my life, and I knew all along that it wasn't going to, and that I still had my morals as far as school is concerned and as far as the way I wanted to live my life, but I never tried to fight with it. I never tried to tell him or to stand up for what I wanted. I waited and just played it out, and then when I wrote it in the book, he read the book and he called me and said, well, you know I am proud of you, and you know I do like what you're doing. I just want to know that you're still my little girl, and more of our relationship came
together.
out.
How do you fight, and how have you fought the pitfalls of this business? You don't drink, you don't do drugs, you express openly your feelings about protecting your virginity. Now those are things that in this day and age a lot of people don't hold quite so dear. Why do you?
Because they're important to me, and I think I have been able to see the pitfalls first, and have been able to avoid them.
Through whose eyes, though, Brooke? Through yours or your mom's? Or?
Well, my mother has really helped me, saying, she's always, I think one of the important things is she's never said, you really don't do it, you can. She's never really said.
That may be for you.
She's never said, you absolutely cannot do this, or you actually absolutely cannot take drugs. She'd say, if you want to, you just tell me, and I'll make sure that I just want you to be safe. And she made things, it wasn't a reverse psychology, but it was an open discussion that we always had as far as our relationship is concerned. And also, I think by being in the business world at a young age and seeing how quickly it moves and how fast it is, and still maintaining an education and going through the regular grades of high school and college, it's enabled me to see the contrast, appreciate school and appreciate my peers, and appreciate a life that's private to me.
You're a straight-A student.
Yes.
What's your major?
French.
With the success of your career and all the money that you've made, you could have said, forget school, I don't need it. And I'm going to tell you that as a mother, I'd be very proud of you if you were my daughter.
Well, I think we're both proud of each other. It's something I want to do for myself, number one. And I've always wanted to complete my education. There was never a question in my mind. There was never a moment when I thought that I would not go to school. If I stopped school at age 18, I would be lost, I think.
You had an experience with your mother, a time of great trouble, and you write about it. And I think it's a valid story to share for our audience because there might be people going through it. Would you share it?
Well, my mom is an alcoholic, and so when I was younger, when I was it was 5 years ago, I knew that if something didn't change, if she didn't get better, then it would destroy our relationship. And I said something to her, and I brought it up, and I included this section in my book because I think that many young people have to deal with parents who are children of parents who are alcoholics, and it's difficult. There's a great deal of guilt, and there's a great deal of unhappiness that's involved, and I wanted to share my feelings on that subject with other young people.
But you work through it, and through the praise and the criticism that you get for working together and all of that, you've stuck together. What is it about your mom that you appreciate so much?
Well, she's my best friend, number one, and I appreciate her friendship. And I appreciate the time, not just time as far as during the day, but a time as far as her life that she's dedicated to me. I mean, she really has. Her life evolves basically around me, and it's helped me a great deal.
And yet she's been criticized. You hate the press for that criticism, don't you? For pushing her daughter and for roles like Pretty Baby and those kinds of things. I mean, how do you avoid believing the things that you hear?
I live with her. I know her. They don't know her. People that talk about her don't know her. And that's the most amazing thing to me. I used to think that you had to know someone or at least see a movie before you criticized it. And I learned that that's not always done.
No. She's right. That isn't always done. It's true. An awful lot of people mouth off and they haven't seen something, and they don't know someone. I find her absolutely beautiful.